Okay, let's start off in the bedroom. So this is kind of the shot you're probably most familiar with if you've seen any of my other videos. I use it a lot for Art & Cove, so I style the bags to show off our beautiful little babies on our bookshelf while filming any videos. On this side you might have not seen too much of. It's another shelf of plants. This is actually an old bookshelf that I wanted to get rid of, but coronavirus hit and I couldn't, get rid of it easily. So I repurposed it by turning it into a plant shelf, and it's kind of nice. The only thing is it's exposed on the side, and the other side has a bunch of nails sticking out, so I'm not going to face that side out. For now, this is what I'll do. I don't know if I'll keep it. And then finally there is a taller plant stand on the side. I don't love the look of this plant stand, but it's purely functional. I get to put a little more plants on it, so I'm living with it for now. I don't know if I'll change it or either one of these in the future. Let's start off with this one. So this is a bird of paradise plant. It grows really, really big. It actually grows fairly fast. So I actually pulled 2 little baby plants off of a very large bird of paradise plant. This is the white variation, by the way. And it grows flowers outside. I've heard that it's pretty rare for them to grow flowers inside, mostly if you grow them outside. My parents have a bunch of the orange bird of paradises, and they grow flowers every year, and they're beautiful. This one is the white variation, which has a little bit like bigger, wider leaves, and I really love these leaves, so I'm really just growing this to look at the beautiful leaves every day. I'm so happy every time it has a new leaf. It's so pretty. The old leaves tear pretty much immediately. I don't know. I'm trying to take a little bit better care to not brush up on them or tear them, but these guys are notorious for their leaves just getting super torn up. This one is actually 2 little baby ones that I've taken from a larger plant that I planted into my parents' backyard. I'll probably insert a little picture of the one in my parents' yard, but yeah, this one is so cute. I love this one so much. It's nice and big. I think they're just so pretty. Look how pretty this leaf is. Okay, let's go through this tower next. Over here I have a Monstera adansonii. This guy grows really, really fast. I did clip it back to try to propagate some more little leaves, which you'll see in a little bit, but it's already growing a little nubbin after a week or 2 after being cut. So I'm really excited for this to grow really big and full. This one back here is a Rhapsophoria tetrasperma. Sorry if I pronounce anything incorrectly. These are also called a mini Swiss plant or mini Monstera. This one was also clipped back because I wanted to use them for a photo shoot for Art & Cove, but I am propagating it, don't worry, and it'll grow back. Right here is a philodendron moonlight, I think. I don't know why. Whenever I grow philodendrons, the leaves are so crinkly. Do you guys know, if you guys have any advice on how to have the leaves grow out nice and straight, that would be great. See, it's had so many new leaves since I've gotten it, but for some reason the leaves are always really crinkly. I think it's like something to do with this phase. It just doesn't let go soon enough, maybe. If you guys have any advice, please let me know. I'd love to know because my other philodendron is also like this. Right next to it, I have a philodendron Brazil. I love these leaves. They're so pretty. It's so easy to care for. This is one of my newer plants and it's already had so much new growth. All of these are new leaves. So I really need to repot this soon, but I'm so excited. Ooh, let's look at this. There's so many leaves back here that I just like, this is just such a pretty plant. Next is, oh my god, this is a dead tree. It's actually a bush that my dad shaped for me, but it just didn't do well. It never did well. I feel really bad for killing this, but it just like was not happy since I've gotten it. Up here we have a philodendron Prince of Orange. Let me pull it down. Like the moonlight, it has like these crinkly leaves that, I don't know. So these are all new leaves, like they're still unraveling, but they're so crinkly and wrinkled and I don't know what to do about it. Up here is a little mini succulent that I propagated from a single leaf, and it grew into this tiniest little succulent. It's so cute actually. It's actually really cute, but it's so tiny. This one is a bigger succulent. There's two of them, which is like really funny because they're the same thing. It just goes to show you, if you give it like the right thing, it'll just grow like crazy. Here I have a Ficus audrey. I have a couple of these I bought at the same time. It came in one pot, but I just separated them. I should probably clean it off. These guys are pretty slow growing. I did stake it because it was pretty crooked. But I think that the Ficus audrey is such a pretty tree and I can't wait for it to get bigger. It just has like these really nice fuzzy leaves that I love. Right here is a arrowhead plant. Over here is an arrowhead plant. I think it's a syngonium, and the variation is the bold illusion. It has like sort of a white or a pale green cover with a pink center. You can see a little bit more on this new leaf. This is another one that I need to repot because it's still in the nursery pot and the roots are growing out. It's crazy. This is one of my favorite plants, my Monstera. It was like the first plant I bought when I moved into this apartment. Pretty much all of these plants I bought while living here. It's just like grown so much in the last year or year and a half that I've lived here. I'll insert a picture of what it looked like when I first got it, and like, look at it now, it's so big. And that's kind of something you should keep in mind if you buy a Monstera that's pretty small. It's gonna grow really big. Right next to the Monstera is a Pilea peperomioides. I don't know if this is considered leggy because I've definitely seen photos of other Pileas that are like really compact with a lot of leaves and really full. Mine for some reason is super long and sparse. It might be just not enough sunlight. This window gets a lot of morning sun and then pretty much indirect light for the rest of the day. So maybe it just needs a sunnier spot, but it has definitely grown quite tall since I first got it. If you guys watched my Josh's Frogs haul, a lot of these plants are from Josh's Frogs. You could go back and see how small they were when I first got them. Was this room? I think it was. But man, it's just like such a joy to watch these guys grow, and there's a little bit of a baby in there. I already have a friend who wants it. Once it gets a little bit bigger, I'll pop it out and gift it to them. Over here, I have a lily, calla lily. Oh no, what is it called? Next, I have a peace lily. This guy likes to kind of play dead. It does need water whenever it like droops a lot. It means it needs some watering. Right now it looks a little perky and okay. It flowers a lot for me actually, so I think it's like not too unhappy. It just had like 2 or 3 flowers a week ago, so. It used to be quite a bit bigger, but when I went on a trip, it got a little underwatered and then a little overwatered, so all of the leaves kind of died back, but it sprung back really, really quickly. Like, look at how many new leaves it has, so I think it's overall pretty happy. Next we have a fiddle leaf fig. I love my fiddle leaf fig. It's one of the earlier plants I got as well, so it's also grown quite a lot since I've gotten it. And I find that for fiddle leaf figs, I have quite a few of them. You'll see some smaller ones. This is my biggest one. When they're happy, they grow really, really quickly. And then if they're unhappy, just nothing happens. And when I first brought it home, it was quite dramatic. Looked like it was gonna die, dropped some leaves. But once it acclimates, it gets much, much happier. You do have to turn them quite aggressively because they will definitely lean towards the sun and grow towards the light. So if you want it straight, stake it and turn it often. Okay, let's go through the bottom row now. Here we have a Dracaena. This is just like a regular green one. One of the first plants I bought, it's really slow growing. Nothing too crazy has happened with it, but I mean, it's one of those slow and steady plants, very reliable, and it did grow a little bit taller, so I can't ask for too much. It's not dying. It does have a little bit of brown tips, but it's really not that bad considering it was overwatered for a little bit. I had to panic repot it into this plastic container. Over here I have a rubber tree. I think this is a burgundy rubber tree. It was also like just a little wee lad when I first got it, and now it's much taller. It grows in kind of like dark brownish green. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's really cute. It was really, really tiny when I first got it, so I have quite a lot of I only have really tiny rubber trees. I know they grow quite big, and my parents had a really big one growing up, but I really like how little they are right now. But you know, here is a snake plant. So this one is my oldest plant in this apartment. It's struggled a lot. I've had it for a couple years. Honestly, it died because I went on a trip for 2 weeks, and my plan was to water it before I leave, water it when I came back. And my parents they're being very helpful. They're trying to look out for me. They were being very sweet. They're trying to help me out. I didn't tell them to look after my plants or anything, but they took this plant, put it outside in direct sunlight, and then it was raining because it was the summer, and it was just overwatered and exposed to direct light when it's usually in quite a shady area, so it just died quite a lot. I've been reviving it. This is all brand new growth, and I have a little bit of a baby shoot that I'm growing on the side, and hopefully one day I'll pop it back in here. Snake plants are kind of known for being indestructible, but that was a little too much for them. It died back quite a lot, but right now it's in recovery phase. These are all brand new growths, so it's doing okay. I'm working on it slowly but surely. Next we have a dieffenbachia. This guy grew so much for me. I'm so proud of it. Another one you have to turn aggressively because it grows straight towards the light, but it looks so much better once you turn it around to see the leaves. This one is actually really nice because it just has really big, juicy, ruffly leaves. I've really enjoyed watching this one grow. Next to is this is kind of funny, but these are like quite trouble plants. Oh, these look like they're dying. They're constantly looking like they're dying. I don't quite know what type of plant this is. I bought it in the sale section from Lowe's, and it did look kind of sick, but it had a lot of big leaves and new shoots. So I was like, I don't know, let's give it a try. It was pretty cheap, so if it died, it dies. And every time I think it's dying and I'm gonna throw it away, it grows a new leaf. And then I can't bear to throw it away because it has a leaf again. But I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It doesn't look happy. It died back so much, and all the new leaves are so tiny compared to what they were before. So if anyone has any advice on what to do about it, how to care for them, please let me know, because they used to be so much bigger and then they just look so unhappy now. They do have like bugs that I need to take care of. I've just been constantly battling bugs on them. You see this one? This one has spider mites again. I need to like deal with it again. I've treated it so many times. I don't know. This is what the leaves will look like. I'll also insert pictures of what they look like when they're a little bit bigger. These are the problem children. Over here I have just a little Scindapsus, or sometimes they're called silver pothos. I bought this at the same time as the Philodendron Brazil. Also another thing I need to repot. It's just sitting in this way too big cover pot right now. Let's go over this bookshelf now. Over here I have a Pothos Enjoy, also one of my earlier pots. It doesn't grow quite as fast as the golden pothos, but you can see it's finally starting to trail. I did take some cuttings from this, so it's not as long as it could be, but I really enjoy taking cuttings and propagating it and giving it to friends and family. So, you know, it is what it is. You can see how long it is. It's kind of like more curly. When I first saw it in the store, I was like, oh, this is so pretty. I really, really want it. So it was kind of an impulse purchase, but I kind of knew pothoses are pretty easy to care for, so I went for it and I do not regret it. Over here I have a little Chinese evergreen. When I first got this, it was a little vagabond. It hitched a ride on my ZZ plant. It only had maybe 2 leaves when I first got it, and it's grown so much since then, so I'm really happy with how it looks now. The leaves are getting much bigger and it's so cute. Over here I have a little succulent arrangement. This was a Valentine's Day gift and it's so cute. I love like this whole arrangement is adorable. I don't have too many succulents, but this one is just so pretty and I love the colors in it. Like it has a little pink and a little blue, and these like transparent ones are so neat. Oh, it's so cool. I love it. It's so cute. And even the sides, like, it still looks really cool. Over here I have a Boston fern. This is just kind of a funny plant. It just reminds me of that Simpsons character Sideshow Bob, I think his name is, but it's just so funny, and like it looks like a starfish. I don't know. It's like, it sometimes gets a little bit crispy. I think I could take better care of it, but overall it's grown a lot, so I don't think it's totally unhappy in my care. Next we have a rattlesnake plant. This is a rattlesnake Calathea, and I actually really like Calatheas. They're kind of notorious for being difficult, but I just love watching them grow new leaves, and when they grow out they're like really little curly cigarette shapes that unfurl, and I don't know, I find it really satisfying to watch them. When at night they kind of close up, that's why they're called prayer plants. So during the day they'll open up and, you know, face the sunlight, and then at night they kind of go back up and you can see the beautiful purple backs of the leaves, and I think they're just so fun to watch, so I really enjoy Calatheas. Calatheas are kind of known for being quite difficult. In particular, it needs a higher humidity, but I think rattlesnake plant is one of the less finicky of the Calatheas. It grows really well for me, and sometimes it has a little bit of brown tippage. That's when I'm not watering it super consistently. I do water all of my plants with filtered water or water that has been sitting out for more than 24 hours. That way it doesn't have like chlorine in the water, because sometimes that'll make them be a little bit unhappy, but overall not too bad. Right here I have a little air plant. This air plant as well as the little triangle stand is a gift my friend gave me. It's from Plant Therapy, which is a store in SF. They opened a location really close by. I think at some point it was trying to flower, but I might have just not watered it enough because they dried up. Hopefully this summer it will try to flower again. I'll be a little bit better about watering you. Next shelf here, we have a little calla lily. This one's just a little baby one. I think this one, I forget the exact name of it. I'll try to look it up and let you guys know. You can see it's quite, I need to turn my plants a little bit more often. You can really tell when they haven't been turned for a little bit. But there's a little green flower here, which is pretty cute. There's a little green flower here, which is pretty cute. This has flowered quite a few times for me. Over here, I have a little collection of baby rubber trees. This is the variegated one called Taneki. It's kind of funny because you always read the names of plants, but I never really say the names that often unless I'm talking to my friends about it. But I think I just have a bunch of these little baby ones. They're so cute. And I don't know, I think at some point I'll have to repot them so they have enough space to grow. But for now, this is what they're doing. I really love these leaves, and I think especially the little pink ones are so adorable. And I don't know, I like them kind of small. I kind of like how they look so small. On this side we have, let me move this out of the way. We have a little baby fiddle leaf fig. So I have a couple little baby ones. Over here I have a variegated Kalanchoe. They're also called bear paws or panda paws, I think, because they look like little chubby paws. They're so cute. And I don't know why these keep drying up. Maybe I need to water them a little bit more, but it does have quite a lot of new growth. So I'm still hopeful. I'm gonna bring some of these taller plants down to get a better look. Here I have a mini trio of rubber trees. Again, 2 or 3 are Taneki, and there's this one green one. The green one grows much faster than the variegated ones, probably because it's, you know, all green. They all started off around the same size, but you can see the green one has just taken off. I think that's just in general a pretty blanket thing for variegated versus green versions of plants. Obviously green ones just capture more light, more chlorophyll. The variegated ones have, you know, more white spots and not quite as green, so less chlorophyll, so less food for the plants. But it's still really cute. Next, I have a couple different ferns. I always mess up which ferns are which, so forgive me. I'll try to put a little text box of which ferns are which. I think this might be, oh man, I really want to tear this out. Okay, I'm just like picking out dead leaves right now. I'm like, so, oh no. It's kind of dead. So next we have a couple different ferns on the top shelf. I always forget which ferns are which, so forgive me if I say the wrong ones. I believe this one is the maidenhair fern. I could be wrong. I'll put a little text if I am incorrect. But I think this one is actually really pretty. I do struggle with ferns, so I don't think I'm the best with them, but I'm learning. So this is kind of like when they're first growing out, they're little curly curls, and then it uncurls a little bit longer and it looks like this. And then it kind of, you know, grows out all of the leaves, and it's so cute. I definitely struggle with ferns, but I think this one has made a pretty good recovery. I believe this is the lemon button fern. This is one of the ferns that are, you can tell, has struggled quite a bit. There's a lot of crispy ends, a lot of dead leaves. For some reason, this one has always looked half dead, and I don't know what it is. I do water enough, but it does stay wet for a really long time, so maybe I need to change up the soil or something like that. If you have any advice, again, totally welcome in the comments. I am learning as we go. But yeah, this is how this one looks. It doesn't look that great, but it doesn't look that terrible, right? I don't know. Okay, last one on the shelf is another dieffenbachia. And this one is a little bit different. It's not quite as ruffly, but it still has a little bit of white, but not, it's like more splatter. I don't know, this one is, let me put it next to each other. So this one is a little bit more ruffly in texture, and then this one is a little bit smoother. And then this one's more of like a splatter, and this one's more of a gradient. So they're different, and I needed both of them, okay? Anyways, this one has grown quite a lot. It does have some crispy leaves, probably from a time when I underwatered it, but it has seemed to make a full recovery. I'm just like picking out dead leaves as I go. This is like multitasking at its best, but I think this one is actually a really cute dieffenbachia. Yeah, this guy's pretty cute though. On to the next room. So now we're in the bathroom. Here's a little overview. By the sink area, I have a staghorn fern. This is actually multiple plants mounted together on the wood. It's still like pretty happy and growing new leaves, so I'm just like letting it be. It does kind of get in the way when you're like looking at the mirror, but not too bad. Luckily I'm not that tall, so it's fine. To the right of the mirror is a peperomia variegata. This was so small when I first got it, and it's just taken over. I cut this back pretty often because it just grows so fast. This is literally only one plant too. It looks like I probably put like a couple in there. No, it's just one plant that's grown massive. I've taken cuttings and given to friends and family, and obviously if it grows too long it gets in the way, so I do trim this one quite a lot. These I found out are the flowers, and I don't think they look that great. They look kind of funny, so sometimes I do trim them because they will have a little bit of powder if you let it grow too long. I will cut them off sometimes because when they're a little too old, they have a bunch of pollen, so I sometimes cut off the flowers. I don't know if that's bad for them or what, but I need the space to be functional. On my sink counter, I have a baby orchid. This is so cute. I love this one so much. I bought it from Trader Joe's, funnily enough. It did finish flowering, but you can see there's quite a few branches. So it's flowered a couple times, and hopefully I can encourage it to flower again. It grew a new leaf right here, so I'm hoping that it'll grow a new branch as well and flower that way. If not, it's possible for them to grow out of one of these older ones, as long as they're not completely dried up. I continue to water them just in case it will. On top of the throne here, we have a peperomia ginny. This one I did cut back a little bit recently and gave away the cutting. But this is a really fast grower too. I just love how like juicy the leaves are. It's just like really fun. And peperomias are kind of like a nice plant to grow in the bathroom because they like they will appreciate the high humidity. And yeah, again, this window is a south facing window, so it gets pretty much indirect-ish light all day. So yeah, the plants love it in here, and especially if they like higher humidity. Next to the toilet is a Dracaena here. When I open the toilet seat, it does kind of hit this, but it's not a very heavy toilet seat, so it hasn't really damaged the plant at all. And I don't know, I really like the look of having plants in my bathroom, so you know, it is what it is. Next, I have a golden pothos, and it's super, super long. My trouble kids in the back getting treated. I have taken cuttings from this quite a few times. Golden pothos is such a beginner-friendly plant because it grows really easily. It can tolerate pretty low light. It just won't grow as fast. And you can water it like once a week and it'll be fine. Maybe like every 5 days or so if it's hot. But yeah, these plants are so easy. It's still in the nursery pot. It's still in the nursery pot, but I'm going to probably repot it at some point. And it just is sitting on my shower curtain rod right now because it used to go on this window right here, and it was really cute with the two next to each other. However, I think with the summer, it just got way too hot or too sunny and it died off on one side. So I think it was just a little too much sun for it. So I guess it could be too sunny. But I just hang it like a couple feet away from the window and it's fine. I am going to get hooks for it and hopefully hang it from the ceiling. I'm not quite sure where right now. I don't know if I just want it up right next to the window or a little bit farther back. It might be kind of cute in this corner, but I'm still debating. So the last location we have is the kitchen, and it's kind of crazy town right now. It is absolutely crazy. So part of me wanting to film this video right now is because I want it to be kind of a before shot of what my situation is right now, because it is completely overtaken by my tomatoes right now. So a little while back, on kind of just a whim, I threw a bunch of seeds into some soil from some baby tomatoes that I was eating, and I didn't realize how easily they sprouted. They grew really easily, you guys. Like, it's kind of insane how many of them sprouted. I've learned that tomatoes need a lot of water and a lot of light, and it's not entirely suitable for growing in a 1-bedroom apartment. This window is a west-facing window, so it's probably the best light in the apartment. As in it's bright most of the day, and you can really tell a really big difference between my tomato plants that were always next to the window. Like, these are my biggest tomato plants up there. This is also a fairly big one. These always grew next to the window, and then there's these really baby tiny ones that were grown at the same time, but they're much shorter because they did not grow up next to the window. So I'm learning a lot about tomato plants, but I just have way too many, and I've been giving them away to friends and family. I've been giving them away to strangers. I got a bunch of nursery pots so I could put them in smaller pots and just give them away to people on the street. I don't exactly know what to do with them, but I have a lot of them. Okay. Oh man. So my kitchen is the one that's going to probably drastically change in the near future, but my idea for the cabinet is to grow the strawberries in there. I'm going to keep, you know, 1 or 2 tomato plants and grow tomato plants in there. I might also grow some of the higher humidity living plants in there, such as the Calatheas. This one is a Calathea white fusion and a Calathea vittata. I'm gonna pull them out so you could see them a little bit better. This one is a Calathea vittata. I need to repot it because the roots are growing out. Back here I have a Calathea white fusion. So my Calatheas are pretty happy. They're like not that bad, but I think they could be happier with a little more humidity, which a cabinet would provide. I did take a little separation. There used to be 3 and the other 2 died. This one's hanging on, but really by not much. So we'll see if this one survives or not. Over here I have a Calathea Freddy. So this is just kind of my Calathea corner. The Freddy has grown quite a lot. It's quite tall. I didn't expect it to grow so tall. Maybe it's a little too far from the window. But I don't know. This is just how it looks right now. So I might move the Calatheas into the cabinet once it's set up. Back here I have yet another struggling fern. This is a rabbit's foot fern. Normally they have a lot of little furry ends, but this one just has died back into this little corner. I don't know what to do. Its soil is moist all the time, so maybe I just need to repot it into a different medium or a smaller pot. Again, here's the strawberries. I have a little bit of flower. I'm so excited about the flower. So hopefully I get some fruit this summer. I will say, since growing the tomatoes and strawberries, the gnat situation is going crazy. I have a couple different traps set up. It's just some dish soap and water, and they tend to get stuck in that. I have little insecticide pills to put in things, but I don't want to put it in food plants. So so far I've just been spraying with neem oil and dish soap on the top layer of soil. If the soil is really bad, I'll dig out the first inch or 2 of the soil and put fresh soil in. But I have some mosquito dunks that are arriving in the mail soon. So once I get that, I'll water with mosquito bits. Hopefully it gets under control soon. And I think getting rid of some of the extra tomato plants will help with this situation as well. So work in progress. Let's just focus on the plants that are not tomato plants because most of them are going away anyways. So over here I have a pitcher plant. It's grown a lot of leaves. As you can see, it's quite tall now, but it only has 1 pitcher that is on the way out, and it hasn't grown any new ones. So if you have any advice on how to get it to grow, if you have any advice on how to make it develop some pitchers, let me know. I moved it here because I thought it might kill some of the gnats or catch some of the gnats for me, but I don't know if it's done all that much. There's just so many. We're outnumbered. Over by the window I have some cuttings of this is the variegated peperomia from the bathroom. Here I have a collection of different things. There's some Monstera adansonii, some Scindapsus, as well as Erapsophoria tetrasperma. Just a couple different cuttings, and let's see if there's any roots. A little bit, not too much. Over here I have some cuttings of Pothos, a golden Pothos, and some Pothos Enjoy. And then right here is more cuttings of the peperomia. Over here I have some baby strawberry seeds that are sprouting. They're just like rogue seedlings I found while replanting my strawberry plants, so I popped them in here to see if anything would happen. Right here I have a Thai basil plant. I love growing herbs because you can just like throw them into your food so easily. During quarantine I've just been cooking a lot more with what I have, and you know, just throwing the herbs I have into food that I'm cooking, and it's been so nice. And it just makes, just fresh herbs just make food taste so much better. I have some mint on the back one here. and I have a larger basil plant here. I have them in these self-watering containers because I found that the herbs just drink up water so quickly. So do the tomatoes. So ever since I repotted them into self-watering containers, they've been a little bit better about not drying up on me. I wish there was like a way to tell what level the water is without opening it though. I think there are some models that do that. On this corner here, I have a Dracaena. This is the same one that's in the bathroom. They used to be together, and now I've potted them separately. Okay, now I have my step stool to go up. On this side, these are all tomato plants, but over here is so this is a variegated string of hearts, and look at how long it is. When I first got it, it was really just a baby plant, and now it's grown so much. I found at first it wasn't growing too much, but my friend who bought the same plant with me told me she put hers right next to a really sunny window and it took off. So I did the same thing, and it's been growing so well since then. And I find that when you put it in bright sun, it really shows the pink color as well. So I love this plant. This is so cute. Okay, this is on top of the cabinets. I'm literally standing on my sink right now. I have two ficus Audreys back here. They came from the same plant as the one in my bedroom. I just moved them into separate pots so they could have enough room to grow. They were starting to crowd each other, so I repotted them so that each would have their room to grow, but they are pretty slow growing, so not much has happened. They do grow a new leaf occasionally, and they are beautiful, but yeah, not too much has happened. Over here I have a fiddle leaf fig, another baby one. This one is slightly taller than the other one, but not by much. And I find that when you water them a little too much, they'll get like these little water bruises. I don't know what they're called, but I just call them bruises. But that just means that their soil is a little bit too wet, so I've been a little bit more careful about not over watering it. I might need to repot it into some faster draining soil. Over here I have, oh my god, an aloe plant that's getting murdered. Oh, it's been clipped before, I'm sorry. So I probably have to like trim this particular leaf. Sorry, aloe. This is a super leggy aloe because it's probably not bright enough for it. I've had this for about a year, maybe a year and a half, but it's a steady grower. I've taken quite a few cuts from it, and I use it. I like to freeze it and then use it in a facial, which is pretty nice. On this side of the window we have a golden pothos. This is just made from cuttings that I took from the main one in the bathroom. Over there on the other cabinet, I'm like trying not to fall and die, I have two loquat plants actually. Let me just get down actually. Okay, on top of this other cabinet I have these two loquat plants that I grew from seed. And then I have the little snake plant baby that I talked about in the other room. It's going, you know. It's not great, but it's not too bad. This is a little bit that grew from like a dead leaf basically. So it's doing something, you know. And then I have a little baby snake plant that I took from the mother plant. Over here on top of my microwave I have another bird's nest fern and a spider plant. Over here, if I turn around and look on this side, I have another spider plant. So you can see, so here's an example of the baby plants growing off of this one. You can see that they actually have little baby roots you can actually take that and put it in soil and it'll grow into a full-on plant by itself. Last but not least is our Zanzifolia, our ZZ plant. Kind of fitting to end on this one. It was one of the first plants I've ever bought, literally because I read it was indestructible, a really good plant for first-time plant owners. You only need to water it once a month. Basically, when you pay your bills, you can water it. And yeah, it's grown so much for me. That top one is a brand new branch, and I think it's just so freaking cute and so freaking big, and I love it. I think the first 3 plants were actually this one, the Monstera, and something else. It must be something else. Unless I killed it, it should still be in here. Not these. This Dracaena and this Monstera, this and the ZZ plant, and this was kind of freewheeling on the ZZ plant as well. So it's just kind of nice to like look at all my plants and remember where all my plants were before, and like watch them grow up, and like, I don't know, they're like my kids, you know?